A, B, and C. And C is going to be the longest side. There are 3 types of triangles we can deal with, right? We just talked about that in our warm-up. Okay, so one option we have is that if we have a squared plus b squared equals c squared, then we know it is a right triangle. A squared plus b squared is greater than c squared. So it doesn't equal. If it doesn't equal, we know it's not a right triangle. But if it's greater than c squared, that's going to give us an acute triangle. Okay, and we only have one more left. What's our other option that we could do? Good. A squared plus b squared is less than c squared. And that's going to tell us that we have an obtuse triangle. Okay, I need my charger real quick. So make sure you get that written down. That's not the big part of today. So that's the new part of today. So you are going to probably want to use a calculator today. Today it's not super necessary that you use Desmos because you can always use the times itself when we do squares. But this is kind of the big new idea today with that converse. So today with the converse, what that means is we're starting with the formula. And then we're saying what type of triangle it is. Yesterday, when we did the Pythagorean theorem, we started with the triangle. Then we used the theorem to find a missing link. All right, so here we go with example 1. For these examples, our question is going to be, is it a triangle? Sorry, I should have put a little bit of space there. Is it a triangle? And if it is, what type?
So this first part, determining if it's a triangle, this is something we've done before, but it was pretty tough for a lot of us on our tests. So this would be a really good thing to tune in for, and make sure you remember how to do this.
All right, so for our first one, we have 9, 7, and 15. So before we even think about a squared plus b squared and c squared, we have to decide if it's going to make a triangle. And that goes back to our triangle inequality theorem. Okay, so way back in triangle inequality theorem, that was way back in chapter 4, chapter 5, chapter 4. Way back in last trimester.
No, it wasn't.
Wasn't it?
No.
It was chapter 5? Where in chapter 5? I don't believe you, Miss Sawyer. Chapter 6 was polygons. There it is. You're right. Chapter 5. 5. Okay, way back in 5.5, our triangle inequality theorem says when we have those 3 sides, if I add 2 sides, it has to be bigger than the third side. Okay, so here we did AB plus AC, and it had to be bigger than BC. Then we did AB and BC is bigger than AC, and then AC plus BC is greater than AB. So this is back in 5, 5. You should be able to find this. If you need to, back in 5, 5. Okay? So if you need to look back at 5, 5. So we're going to add two numbers and make sure it's bigger than the third number. Okay, so 9 plus 7. I'm just going to do the first two. Is 9 plus 7 bigger than 15? Does that work? Yep. Okay, what other two numbers could I add together? 15 plus 7. Is 15 plus 7 greater than 9? Yep, we don't even need to check that. We know 15 plus anything will be bigger than 9. And what's our other two we haven't added yet? 15 plus 9. Is 15 plus 9 going to be bigger than 7? Yes. So can this make a triangle? Yes. So it is a triangle, so we're going to say yes for our answer. But then we're going to decide what type of triangle we have. And the biggest thing here is that between A, B, and C is C has to be the longest side. So which one of these is C? 15. Okay, so I'm going to put 9 squared plus 7 squared. And then I'm going to do a little question mark. 15 squared. Because that's what we're going to determine is what goes in the middle of that.
Is it going to be equal, greater than, or less than 6? Remember, does it matter 9 and the 7? No.
Okay, what is 9 squared? What is 9 times 9? 81. 7 times 7? 49. Still don't have that answered yet, so I'm going to put my question mark in the middle. Does anyone remember what's 15 times 15? 225. Okay, now in this last step, now we'll be able to decide if it's greater than, less than, or equal to. Rosalie. Okay, what's 81 plus 49? 130? That looks right. So when I compare 130 and 225, is 130 equal to 225? Greater than or less than? Less than.
So what type of triangle is it if we have A squared plus B squared is less than C squared?
All right, ready for the next one? Okay, number 2. We have 12, 9, and 15. So the first step is to check to see if it's a triangle. In Schoology for your practice today, it'll be like a separate question. It'll ask you first, are these triangles? And then it'll ask you what type of triangle it is. So we're going to just combine those numbers any way we can to make sure it's bigger than the third number. Okay, so I'm going to do what plus what first? What do you guys want? Okay, 12 plus 9. Is that bigger than 15? Are you sure? Just kidding, it is. You're right. Then what plus what? 9 and 15. We just have to go through all the combinations. Is 9 and 15 bigger than 12? Yep. And then what about 12 and 15? Is 12 and 15 bigger than 9? Yes. So we know it is a triangle. So because we know it's a triangle, we can keep moving forward. We're going to do our A squared plus our B squared. And we're going to see what happens when we compare it to C squared. Which one does it matter what number it goes with? Which one does matter? Sorry. 15. And 15 has to go in for what? C. How did you know? Good. 15 is that longest side, so it has to go in for C. What do you guys want for your A? I heard 9. If you put 12, that's okay. And then B, 12. My goodness, can keep that question mark there saying we don't quite know yet. We're finding that out.
So we did 9 squared up above. What's 9 times 9? Anyone know 12 times 12? 12 squared?
144. And what's 15 times 15? We just did it above. 225. All right, and then who's got that? 81 plus 144. 225. So is this equal, less than, or greater than? Equal. So because it's equal, it's a right triangle. There is a right angle involved. All right, we have 2 more examples. I know this seems like a lot, but your practice will go by really fast, I promise. All right, number 3. Why is this not what I wanted? There we go. Got it. All right, for number 3, we have 56. 38. And 10.
So if you feel pretty confident with determining if it is a triangle, you can try to work ahead on these.
Six plus 38, is that bigger than 10? That's bigger than 10. We know that, right? I don't even have to do the math.
Either one of those numbers is bigger than 10. So if you put them together, they're definitely bigger than 10.
Okay, what about 56 plus 10? That'd be 66. Is 66 bigger than 38? Yep.
What combination do we have left? 38 and 10. Is 10 plus 38 bigger than 56? No.
Should we classify it as an acute, obtuse, or right triangle? No. We just say not a triangle.
No.
I don't know why I didn't box the other answers. Okay, we have one more. If you were a guessing person, what do you think our last problem might be? Probably acute. Just because we're nice people. And we like to do one of each kind. Alright, so this is example 4. I have to go to the next page just to make me so sad. I was really spacing things out. If you don't need a next page, that's okay. Alright, we have 6.9. $11.2. What? You need a decimal for what? No, you don't need one, no. Sorry. I was so confused what you were saying. No, you do not need a decimal. This example just has decimals involved. I just wanted one with decimals, and it just happens to be this one. All right, so first we're going to add and see if it's bigger than the other. So 6.9 plus 11.2. And for this, we can use our rounding skills. So 6.9 is about 7. So 7 plus 11, is that going to be bigger than 9? Yep. So we don't need to necessarily type in our calculator. We can use those rounding skills. Okay, so 6.9 plus 9.2. So that's about 7 plus 9. Is that bigger than 11? Yep. What about 9 plus 11? Is 9 plus 11 going to be bigger than 7? Yep. So does it work? So our answer is yes. And even though I already kind of told you the answer, or you guessed it, let's just double check our work and make sure we got it. So we have our a squared plus b squared, and we're going to compare that with our c squared. We're going to start with our c when we fill it in, though. Which one of these has to be the c? 11.2. Why does it have to be 11.2? It's the longest side. If you think about a side, it's the greatest number. It's the longest side. C has to be the longest side. The other ones, it doesn't matter which one is which. So C is not always last. Some people look and they're like, oh, 9.2 is last. That's the C. But C has to be the biggest number. Hamza asked such a good question. I just want to let you know. Hamza was like, does it have to be decimals to make it acute? Such a good question. All right, 6.9 squared. So I'm going to do 6.9 times 6.9. We get 47.61. 9.2 times 9.2. 84.64. I'm throwing in that question mark because we still haven't decided what it is. 11.2 times 11.2. 125 and 44 hundredths. So there I just used my calculator to do 6.9 times 6.9. That's what that squared means. And then our last step here would just be to add 47.61 plus 84.64. Whoops. Did you guys know to delete? You can just like hit that. Fancy. And we get 132.25. So when I compare 132.25 and 125.44, what is bigger? So since our C is smaller, when our C is smaller, that means what type of triangle do we have? Acute. How are we feeling?